Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I am your podcast host on the show today. And today we have Kirt McGhee, CEO and founder of Pura Vito Bioplastics. We're going to be learning all about his business, his journey to business ownership, challenges, and best practices he's learned along the way to give you an inside scoop to what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes. Welcome, Kirt. It is so nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well.
Well, let's dive right in. Tell me a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Pura Vita Bioplastics.
I've been entrepreneur, excuse me, an entrepreneur for pretty much my whole adult life, and I love putting opportunities together and getting them to the point where you build a successful team and watch it come to fruition. That's really I'm passionate about that. Pura Vita Bioplastics is it's a very revolutionary cutting edge manufacturing company, and we make 100% bio-based drinking straws, and they are home compostable, they're industrial compostable, they give off no ecotoxicity or chemical residue or heavy metals or anything back when into the environment as it breaks down, and the straws are guaranteed to break down within 12 months in a aerobic or anaerobic environment. So very, very cool product.
Wow, that's incredible. I read a little bit about your business and I thought this is super cool, especially when it comes to thinking about our earth and thinking about what's going on. So I'd like to dive into your why behind this business that you've been creating. So tell me a little bit about the why behind the business.
So I opened up a hemp company here in Texas in 2018. And we were looking to do industrial hemp and also diving into the CBD market. I love Costa Rica and that Pura Vida lifestyle of, pure life that is out there, and the way the Costa Ricans live. So we called it Pura Vida Hemp Company. And we went to Costa Rica on a celebratory fishing trip, and they were bringing us drinks that had these paper straws in them. Excuse me, and you would get one or two sips out of it, and the straws disintegrating not only in your drink but also in your mouth. So we were jokingly said, "Ha ha, let's make some hemp straws." And by the time this was in September, by the time we got back and December hit, there was a plethora of people reaching out to us. Well, I've got hemp straws. I've got this. I've got that. We met an individual out of Arizona that claimed that she had hemp straws, and we went to run them and put together a very large contract and started to move forward on a successful venture. Um, and next thing you know, we find out the straws were made in China. They had no hemp in them. They weren't made in the US as they were claimed. And they were basically polypropylene straws.
Mm.
They were colored green. So this was my first interaction, if you will, with greenwashing, of people stating that they have a green product, but they don't. And they're
Mhm.
actually promoting for profit. Um, since then, I've come to find the Department of Environmental Protection and conservation agencies all across our country have really dove into legislative practices of how to prevent greenwashing and how to figure out a path to verifiable certifications of compostability and different types of proving that it's a sustainable product.
Mhm.
And Canada, the country of Canada, for example, has an amazing program. They completely ban plastics, and they have different um, tests and things that you go through to assure that it's a reusable product. And so the time is changing. And I'm sorry, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent there, but the great part about all of this is even though we went through the adversities in the beginning of what we thought was trusted partnerships, we eventually just and this was my former partner, Scott Pope, and I. He unfortunately lost a battle to stomach cancer a few years ago, but I've carried it on, and um, we just opened our own manufacturing company in Texas. We said, let's do the quality control ourselves. Let's make sure that what we're putting out there is accurate and it's verifiable. And here we are today. So that was kind of the whole process of getting it, the why and getting it and how it came to fruition.
Wow. Well, that's an incredible story. I like took notes here because that greenwashing thing, that's something I didn't know about. I thought, yeah, so that's really cool that you were able to take something that was going on and like make something better and make something that was legit. And so I'm really excited to dive in and kind of get the nuts and bolts of your business. So now you've been in business for how long? How many years now total? It's
So
20.
we started in 2020. So it's about 4.5 years. Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, 4 years, 4 years. Kind of 2019 is when it started, but on paper it started in 2020.
Okay, cool. Now I'd like to dive into your team. Like, what does your team look like around this? Are you guys like, do you have a full-time staff? Are you all in office? What's that look like?
That's the interesting part. As an entrepreneur and a startup, you're typically running lean, right? On any type of funding and things that are going on. And as you start up a company, you want to be able to hold on to as much ownership as you can if you have to bring in any type of funding. So it's a juggling act of going through that process because you want to run lean, but then you also have to get a supporting team. So in the beginning, I brought on some key players that brought us to the point where we needed to be. And then as you grow, either that team grows with you or you end up parting ways, right? And sometimes that can be a difficult decision, but going through the process of seeing certain key players that are still with us that were there from the beginning and the positions they've grown into is very rewarding as an entrepreneur and setting that up. So I have those key relationships that these people have just blossomed. And the other ones that we've had to let go, it's been a learning experience and how we can all be better and grow it. But there's a solid operations team that we have, and it continues to grow, and everybody synergistically works together. And we've created a very strong communications platform and being able to use a Microsoft manufacturing software to be able to tell us how to get KPIs and where our holes are and where our strengths are, et cetera. And then obviously we've got accounting and a sales team that goes after it.
Oh, wonderful. It sounds like you've built out a great team. How many team members are you at right now, and are you looking to grow?
So we're at around a dozen or so team members, and we've got another line that should straw extrusion line that should be to us this week, if not next week at the latest. So that
Mhm.
12 will probably turn into about uh it'll probably double of where we have with people as we continue to scale.
Wow, that's cool. I really am excited to hear how that grows. And looking at your products now and the straws that you're offering, are you business to consumer or are you more B2B right now? How are you structuring that?
So we do sell straight to consumers, and it took us over a year, if not a couple years, to get into some of the large distributors like Cisco and Gordon Foods and the people that we're dealing with now. So that's the larger volumes, obviously, is getting into a distributor, but we sell to both. We sell to anybody that wants some straws.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. And like, what are you doing? What is kind of like your marketing behind it? I mean, It's a really intriguing product. How are you getting the word out about it?
So it's a lot of word of mouth, really, and it's an educational process because everybody loves the concept, but unfortunately, with these new resins that are used or that have been created that are used to make these kinds of home compostable products, they're a lot of them are still in the founding first few years or decade of production, so it's expensive. It hasn't got into a massive production schedule to be able to bring the cost down. So with a higher resin cost compared to your traditional fossil fuel based plastics, it's 2 to 5 times the cost. So although people love the green aspect of it, it comes down to the bottom line. And it depends on the economy and it depends on how that business is doing. And it's
Mhm.
straws are not a whole lot of money, but they're also not at the top of someone's list either, right?
Mm,
So educating someone as to know if there's state or government legislation that demands them to do it, it's a no-brainer, right? But
mhm,
if we're going in and saying, okay, this is, they're forced to buy or they get fined,
mhm.
if we're selling them on the doing the right thing aspect, it really just boils down to their bottom line if they're willing to pay for it or not. That's the approach. But and then again, I'm repeating myself, but it is an education process of why
Mhm.
should we buy these straws? Why are they different? How do we know that if they go into food waste bin that they're going to break down? Well, we have, the TUV Austria certifications for home compostability that if you put it into a um, heavy microbial environment, they're going to break down. I mean, it could be in as little as 60, 90 days, but it's guaranteed to break down within 12 months.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Well, I'm super excited to see you grow and you're building your team. I kind of want to dive into your leadership style and how you are as a leader to your team. What would you say your leadership style is?
I am definitely the type A male. I'm very driven. I'm very goal oriented. Um, I do my best to not have that drive become overwhelming to some people. And I am always working to find balance because there's not only mainly within myself, because if I'm balanced within myself, I'm able to be balanced with other people. Um, it sounds great coming out of my mouth, but but it's not always that easy, right? It's so my leadership, I try and listen. I don't try, I listen as much as possible. I put out empathy and sympathy if it needs to be and understand the person's perspective. But then at the end of the day, I have a fiduciary responsibility to the company and have to assure that if it works, great, let's go. But if it doesn't, we've got to part ways. But um, I lead by example, and
Mhm.
if I need to dive in and help, I've worn 5 hats opening up a company, right? And as the company starts to grow, I take off that hat and share it with other people. So it's never a point of me on the top of the hill. It's I'm side by side with people, making sure that it's working.
I love that. Um, another thing too, I kind of wanted to talk about was like a challenge you maybe faced in this last 4.5 years, like a challenge you faced in the business that you overcame, and how did you do it?
Um, Financial challenges are always it's always the issue with a startup,
Mm,
right? I mean,
mhm,
it's so back to, running lean. You're trying to run as lean as possible. In many startups, you're bringing in investors, if it's, angel investors, or if it's somebody that, becomes a partner in the company. So it's a balancing act of receiving money for and then maximizing the money for the value that the person giving you the money is going to receive, right? There's
Hmm.
that win-win situation. Um, and then with such a lean company, you're making sure that you're hiring the right people. So that's been the biggest challenge is coming into this new market with bioplastics, the educational process, making the investors happy, making the banks happy while building out a team has it's really helped me personally to work on the aspect of remaining balanced of there's the head in the clouds optimistic, this is so exciting what we're doing, and then there's the reality of fear, worry, doubt of of all the things that could happen, and remaining in the middle of that and just kind of going with the ebb and flow of it, if you will, of has been something that I've learned within myself over the past 4 years.
I think that one's going to hit home for a lot of business owners, that finding that ebb and flow between, yes, the optimism it takes to have the vision and be excited about it and get a team excited about it, but also that the worry that keeps you up at night, that's like all the things and the layers. So yes, that's such a great nugget of advice to remember that there is an ebb and flow between all of that as a business owner. So I really appreciate you sharing that. This has been such a good conversation. I'm excited. Let's dive into a fun question and answer section called our
Yeah.
rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. Question number one in our rapid fire is, what is the key to success for you?
Having peace and balance within myself.
Mm, love that.
Yeah.
Uh, what is a key or what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Don't force an outcome. If it's flowing, go with the flow. If it's not, figure out why you're having to force an outcome and look for other directions.
That one's powerful too.
Mhm.
What is like a book or a piece of content? It could be anything, a podcast that you've taken in most recently.
There is a an audiobook that I listened to called The Untethered Soul. And are you familiar with the Untethered Soul?
I've heard it, but I don't know the author.
It is, I don't even know who the author is. You can Google it on YouTube and it's for free. But
Mm,
it is a way to communicate with yourself and retrain that roommate in your head, because that's the who do we talk to the most, right?
yes.
There's a rent-free roommate in our head. So being able to literally retrain those conversations that you have with yourself to become the person that you really want to be. And I don't think we realize as humans how programmed we are of, things that have happened throughout our lives that have created these egoic ways, if you will, of protection and things that we're doing. So to be able to understand yourself and retrain your brain to have different conversations is so powerful.
Yes, you're speaking my language with that. I definitely am going to read that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And our final question for today in the rapid fire is, if you could wave a magic wand and overnight rapidly improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
That's a good question. Man, just one of them would be, I really don't know. I'm kind of stumped on that one. I guess the more success and scaling, that's what everybody wants to have. I guess that would be the biggest one. Yeah.
Mm, definitely.
Faster scaling and success. Because it's always, instead of divine timing, it's Kirt McGhee's timing, which usually isn't relevant. Right? So yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, this has been such a great conversation. Well, let's start that scaling process now. How can people find you?
So you can go to our website, www.puravitobioplastics.com. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find us as well.
Wonderful. Well, Kurt, this has been such a great conversation. For our final question today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Seeing other people being inspired and that are in my circle of influence. I love being able to be around people that are on that same frequency, if you will, that I am, and and finding your tribe, right? When you find your tribe and everybody's clicking and moving, that's so inspiring to me.
I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you for being on the show. It has been a joy to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you. Same here.